Okay, so now that we have this outside diameter all set, which is this diameter here, we need to go to our next largest diameter, which is going to be where our little octagonal shape is going to go. So that diameter is 1 inch, 1 inch 330 thousandths, and we're going to bring that down for a length of 4 inches 718 thousandths to this face here. So we need a way to accurately measure that. Now you can do it with a pair of calipers here, pair of calipers and a scribe line, and go to that scribe line as long as you're careful, and then you can double check your measurements and go from there. It is doable. That's the way I did it when I did my 9-inch lathe. But if you have some way of accurately measuring your carriage travel, it's a lot easier. So this is just a little clamp that I whipped up and to hold an indicator, 2-inch indicator. They also have magnetic back indicators that you can just magnetically plop on your ways. The only problem with those is obviously they're magnetic, so they'll attract your chips, and also you have to make sure that you get that plunger as straight as possible. With a little clamp like this, it's automatically straight. So what we need to do right now is all we're going to do is just come in here, touch the edge. All right, I'm going to give this indicator, or make sure that this indicator has a little bit of preload on it. Angle it towards the camera so it can show up a little bit better. Zero that indicator. Now this inside dial will count the hundredths each revolution of that dial, so you don't have to count them, but we're going to count them anyway just to make sure we don't screw up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there is 2 inches. And I'm going to lock down the carriage just so it doesn't move. Now we need to move that indicator down again. Now you can see why the 2-inch travel works out pretty good with this. I'm going to come in and slightly preload that. Actually, I'll make sure it's tightened down first. That would help. Alright, we're just going to come in here, give it a slight preload, zero that, unlock our carriage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2 inches. Lock our carriage down again. I'm also walking around the camera here, so it's taking a little bit longer than it usually would, but preload our dial a little bit, make sure we're at 0, and we say 4 inches 178, 4 inches, 4 inches 718. So we're going to go 718 thousandths. We're going to unlock 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7. There's 718. We're going to lock our carriage down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this down, and right at that, unfortunately it's hitting this. Let me get my 1-inch indicator on here that doesn't have this giant stem on the back. Okay, so I have my 1-inch indicator in there. It's set at 0, and this is preloaded about 50 thousandths. So what I'm going to do is, as I come in, unlock the carriage here. As I come in, alright, I'm going to stop 5 thousandths shy of that 0 every time. Reason being is once we're done, once we get our diameter set, what we can do is come in and just plunge in that last 5 thousandths in face out. That way we have a perfectly perpendicular in flat face. Now what we can do, just to double check ourselves, you go to my 0 setting here. Is right there. We're going to come in with our tool here, keeping in mind that there is a little bit of a radius on this tool. We're going to come in and we're just going to make a slight scratch. That way there, we can just double check ourselves with a pair of calipers by putting the tip into that groove and coming across to the end. And I'm reading right there 712 thousandths or so. There is a radius on the end of this tool, so it's going to be a little bit deeper. And then we can always double check with our micrometer. Once we get everything done, we can check with our micrometer up against this face and adjust if needed. Okay, so what we're going to do, turn our machine on. And come in here. I'm going to just touch. It's right there. I'm going to set 0 on our dial. I'm going to feed in 50 thousandths, which is going to be 50 thousandths per side, so I'm going to be taking 100 thousandths off the diameter. And we're going to kick in our feet. And we're going to go. Okay, we're coming close to the end of our first cut. Put my hand here so you can see that dial. Fortunately, camera's in my way, but it's the only way you guys can see what's going on. So you can see we're coming up. Just about ready to start touching. You start seeing this move. We're going to stop, and then we're just going to hand feed till we're about 5 thousandths off to our 0, and then we can go right back to our start. Alright, this is a 200 thousandths cut. It's a 100 thousandths depth. We're going to see what happens. See if we can do it. Doing it. Alright, so let this cool down for about 10 minutes there, just by having the fan blow over it. Cleaned up my work area here, emptied the chip pan, and we are at 1 inch 382 thousandths. We have to go to 1 inch 330 thousandths, so that's a difference of 52 thousandths. We're gonna have to take off of here. So what I'm gonna do right now is take 40 thousandths. You can see where that leaves us. Okay, let's check where we are. It should be about 12 thousandths off. Three inches, 45 thousandths. So there's a 12 thousandths there. What I'm going to do is, since we're only taking about 12 thousandths, I'm going to speed this machine up. Okay, we're going to come in that extra 5 thousandths now. So that's where I usually stop. We're going to come in 5 thousandths, lock the carriage down, switch our feed. I'm going to face that inside edge. Okay. So now we're just going to double check our measurement, and we should be, I'm shooting for about 1,000th off. Okay. We're about 2 to 3 thousandths off. We're about 1 inch 335. So that is going to polish out. What we are also going to do real quick here is we are going to break this edge just with the file. Reason being is I don't want a burr there. That's all that needs. We just want to make sure that there's no burr here, because what we're going to do is just use our depth mic against that face here, and hopefully have enough room to get it in here. I'm getting 4 inches, 722. So those 4,000s really aren't that critical because the length from here to here doesn't particularly matter. So that's perfectly acceptable for what we're doing. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take ourselves down to our next diameter, which is for our threaded section here. Alright, I mic'd over the original threads. It's 1 inch, 120 thousandths. And our length here is from the end to that diameter right here is 2 inches, 586 thousandths. So now that is the length that is critical to us. So we want to make sure we get that as close as possible. Now, as I said, from here to here, we were within about 5 thousandths. That's more than enough because we're going to be putting the rod in there anyway. Worst case scenario, I can always just face a little bit off of this. So what we want to do is, I'm already set to the edge of that part. I'm going to bring our indicator up in here. So there we go. We got our dial set again. And as I said before, we can always just take this. This helps a quick little swipe. And make sure we didn't royally screw up. And we're pretty close there. Again, this has, I changed out my insert. This is a high-speed steel insert. The carbide insert was digging in a little bit on this diameter here. You can see I got a few little scratches here. So this has a bigger nose radius, and this is high-speed steel. They're made by A.R. Warner. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that down to our diameter of 1 inch, 1 inch 120 thousandths, sorry. Okay, so our next diameter and length here is 1 inch 12 thousandths for a length of 1 inch 276 thousandths, and that'll be the beginning of our threads. So same as before. Set 0 there, and what did I say? 1 inch 276 thousandths. So there's 1 inch 276. Okay, lock the carriage there just to hold it. Take 100 thousandths here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is create this little relief here after the threads. Now the diameter is the same diameter as we just cut, and the length is Actually I have one right here, is 310 thousandths. So the easiest way to do this will be with a parting tool. Unfortunately, I have the actual parting tool holders. I just don't have a parting blade that'll fit these BXA holders, but I do have a little homemade grooving tool, and that's what we're going to use. So what we're going to do here first, put it in our block here. We're going to kind of come in and we're going to use a scale kind of as a straight edge here against this face. And I'm going to come in and we're just going to wiggle this on the face here, and you'll be able to feel it. You get it nice and flat up against it. You'll be able to feel it catch the tip of that tool when you get close. So if I put this flat against here and just give it a quick little, it's kind of hard to let the camera see what I'm doing and try to see what I'm doing myself, but just like this, rock it back and forth here, just until we feel it touch right there. So right there it's touching. So we're going to call that edge of that tool, that right side edge, is 0. And what we're going to do is take our little indicator here, and we're going to 0 it, and we're going to go 310 thousandths to the right. There's 1, 2, there's 310 thousandths. So there is our groove, and we can just visually verify that we're where we need to be, and that looks good by the scale. This groove here is not critical. So now I'm just going to lock my carriage down, and we know we're at 1 inch 120 thousandths. We're just going to touch off and plunge in. Alright, so I just cleaned everything out. I pulled the tailstock away here, and what we're going to want to do is just verify the measurement from here to here. I broke all the edges. This way here, in case we have to move this face forward a little bit, we can, or if we have to take a little bit off of this edge, we can. And we want 2 inches 586, or as close as we can get to that, and we are at 2 inches 587. So we're within 1,000. That's good enough for me. So let me put the tailstock in here, and I'm going to set up for threading, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're getting ready for threading, and I just have a regular threading tool here. Now you can feed straight in on your threading tool using just your cross slide, or you can do the compound method, which is the method that I personally prefer, and that is having your compound set at 30 degrees. You feed in with your compound, that's what makes it cut. So what you do, or what I do first, is you just kind of get your cross slide in at a comfortable area. Usually I like it parallel with the floor there. That gives me a very easy way to disengage. Once we get that, I'm going to set 0 on that dial. Okay, and what I'm going to do is turn the machine on, and I'm going to gently feed in compound here until we make a line. until we touch. Just right there. Okay, I'm going to set 0. And we're going to take a extremely light cut, only a couple of thousandths. Now we are cutting a even pitch thread, so my thread dial over here, I can engage a half nuts or any line or any number. This is actually my, you know what helps first though, is we got to set up for 16 threads per inch. Right, and in. Okay, so now we should be set up for 16 threads per inch. Okay. Engage here. We're just making a line here. Disengage. One full crank out. And come back to our 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is confirm that we are 16 threads per inch. And we are. And we're going to continue that down. You can use these as a quick measurement. So 6 double depth of thread for 16 is 81 thousandths. Let's take a quick measurement over some thread wise. Okay, I'm just going to use the quick grease trick here. A little bit of grease on the threads there. And that should hopefully hold our thread wires in place. While we take our measurement. So we got about 10 more thousandths to go. Grease trick here. Okay, according to this, I'm 2/1000 long. So we're just going to take a tiny bit. Okay, that should actually be more than enough right there. We can just double check. Okay, that's 150 on the nose right there.